So in theory, I was trying to burn my drone, but I didn't. So I was going super low in one shot, the one that went super viral.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast, where we bring you everything drones and how they're being used in the Caribbean. In this week's episode, we have a conversation with a special guest who hails from the Netherlands by way of Aruba. You may have seen his or his team's work in shots like fastest drone in the world versus an F1 car, or even I melted my drone for the shot, a video with the Iceland volcano. Please enjoy my conversation with Mr. Vince Tonk, aka Vince Irie, aka Jedeye FPV, CEO and co-owner of the Dutch Drone God.
Cool. Hi Vince, how you going? Thanks for coming on the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast.
What's up? What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Oh, man, pleasure to have you. I know it's nighttime where you are. It's supposed to be nighttime where you are, and the sun is shining bright through your window there.
Yeah. Europe, summer. But we're in close to Amsterdam. I'm living in Nieuwkoop. And right now it's summertime, so it's light till like 11. So pretty nice.
Okay, cool. So let's just jump right into it, man. Why don't you, let the audience know how you got started in the world of FPV?
Well, that's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I started back in 2013 with model airplanes, like foam aircraft, like up here. Right. And I started flying that for fun. And then I saw you could put cameras on with the goggles, and I actually bought a camera and goggle kit from Fat Shark, the Attitude V2 or something, and it was called. And I put that on the plane. And then I saw drones, like the DJI Flame Wheel just came out, like this kit you could assemble, and I bought that. And then I bought the Phantom, the white one, and I got all into drones, and I wanted to film with drones. And then I saw a video on YouTube of them racing with drones with the goggles on, because I stopped flying with the goggle after the planes. And then I was like, what? I need to get into that racing. Like, what is that about? So I sold everything I had at the time, like all the planes and the Phantom and everything, and started investing into the racing drones and started building them, crashing them, playing simulator. And it was like the first time I flew was crazy, putting on the goggles, going outside, flying the drone, and being so maneuverable, between the trees and stuff like that. I played a lot of simulators, so the first time I went out flying, I could already do a bit, so that was pretty cool. And then from there, man, I started on Instagram, and because drone racing was so niche, I got in contact with the right people, and I started doing Drone Racing League and Drone Champions League. And that just kept progressing, and it was a lot of years of drone racing. I think I drone raced up until 2019. So from 2013, 2014 till 2019 was it just hobby,
Yeah.
Flying, racing, Drone Champions League every now and then, doing big races, but a lot of local races as well in the Netherlands. So that was my introduction, man, drone racing.
So what is it like competing in an international drone race like DCL?
And not crazy, man. Like it felt so cool back in the day because it was so small, but yet something that has so much potential. So we all thought, man, this is going to be the future of racing. This is going to be so big. And at the same time, we were doing big events. I did in Paris, we did the Champs-Élysées with DCL. We did the race in Romania in a cave. I went to Korea to race. In Spain, I raced. In the USA, for me, it was very big because I never went to all these places before, and it was all for flying these toy drones racing, So
yeah,
it felt huge, and it felt like something I wanted to pursue. So every moment I had was training and racing and trying to get better, going to the field, putting up the track, and then when it's race day, being prepared, having enough drones and yeah, man, it was a wild ride. Thinking back about it, I really miss those days. It was a totally different intention, Like now I film with drones, but back then it was all racing. Like that was all we cared about. Like fast
I think
laps. And, yes.
everybody who gets into FPV racing at some point in time dreams of doing, either DRL, DCL,
Yeah, exactly.
DR1, one of those things.
That was our thing, man. We wanted to do all those big leagues. And I remember the guy who I work with now, Shaggy FPV, he did Drone Racing League. And man, I also wanted to do Drone Racing League, but I did DR1. So I was happy doing that. But those races were so appealing to do, and you really wanted to be part of it. So crazy times. And I organized the race on Aruba twice just for
I
fun.
was just going to mention that, yeah.
Yeah, man, that was a good time as well. I think we had like 15, 20 pilots over. We did it twice by the beach, and good fun, man. It never became a sport that got picked up big, like some people would come, but all these races were usually empty. So that's the downside again of it. All these nerds racing, but nobody wanted to watch it. So
yeah, you find the same thing happening here. You pick up racing. We have a couple of guys. Well, we have a decent crowd that is into FPV locally, and you try to organize racing, but more guys are into the freestyle kind of it. You may get some racing from time to time, but to say not enough to set up like a dedicated league or consistent race days, that kind of thing.
And it's expensive, no? Like these races, you want to do good, but you don't want to break your drone. So, and when you break it, it's very hard to get parts, especially on Aruba and where you're at as well. I think it's hard to get all these parts in, so it's not worth it. And nowadays, like back in the day, you would get into drone racing by drone racing, and now you get into these race drones because you see them filming with it. So it's a different approach, and I think that's also what makes it special. Like back in the day, we thought the drone racing was going to make it big, but filming with the race drones made race drones big. So it's pretty crazy how that went.
So how did you make the jump from drone racing DR1 to CEO of the Dutch Drone Gods?
Well, the time, I think it was 2019, 2020, and the whole drone racing kind of stopped, right? Because of COVID, all the events stopped, and drone racing was looking kind of not so good at that time already because we were, the organizers were starting to see that, hey, it's hard to attract people to this, and then COVID came and everything like stopped. And then here in the Netherlands, there's a lot of festivals like hardstyle music. There's a lot of festivals in the summer, like a lot, like with bands, but also with DJs. And because of COVID, they couldn't do these events anymore. But of course, they planned a lot and they had all these, how do you say? The festivals that they make them with all these, how do you say this, man?
Like Tomorrowland kind of thing.
Yeah, they make it like a whole show, right? With all these big pieces of things on the field, basically. I don't know how to say it differently. But they already invested in all those things. And then COVID hit and they were like, we want to do it live. The people can't come, but we'll bring the show to the people at home, right? So then they realized, we can film it with like a race drone. And right about that time, Real Steady was also becoming a thing where you could stabilize the GoPro footage where it became smooth. Because before that, we tried filming. I mean, many times we got asked to film, but the video would be all shaky and we'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. But then these festivals started asking us, and then Real Steady started working. And then it was like, it makes total sense. So we started like working for these festivals and we saw potential in drone, race drone work, as you can call it. And me and Shaggy, because I knew him from all the big leagues and we raced together. We won some races of DCL together. And he was also doing some filming. I was like, let's do it together. So me and him joined forces. We thought of the name, Dutch Drone Gods. And we just tried to get work. And because we were so early to this market and we already had the skills to fly, that gave us such an edge because there were a lot of film companies who also started to see like, there's a lot of potential with those race drones. But then they started to fly them and they're like, whoa, that's way harder than we thought. So let's call the Drone Gods. And that's how it started the ball started rolling. And here in the Netherlands, yeah, it's a rich country, so they have a lot of budget for these things, and a lot of companies, they just want cool shots, like something different. And then we come with our little drones that fly through all these buildings, and they're like, that's great, let's do that. And that escalated now to like races and more live streams, and we did the F1 recently, of course, and and now we're here 3-4 years later. And I wouldn't have thought this, man. I was always thinking I'm gonna drone race, and that's my thing. And and now all of a sudden, man, I'm the co-owner of a cool company,
So you mentioned the F1, so we had to talk about it.
Of course.
Fastest FPV drone in the world, and then you did the lap, or Shaggy did the lap following the F1 car.
Yeah.
You had to give me some behind the scenes in the planning, the preparation. What does a project like that look like?
How it started, okay, first of all, Shaggy is a big F1 fan. So Shaggy was also the perfect pilot for this job. And when we got this job, I think like over a year ago, it was just a rough idea, right? So they were like, you need to build us a drone. And we pitched the idea to them, and they really liked what we had proposed. So they're like, okay, go ahead with it. And we put Shaggy in the lead together with the tech guys from us. And they worked over a year, man, on this project. And then all of a sudden it came out. And I was like, what crazy when I saw it. And I was very proud of the team. But I wasn't at any of the races, unfortunately. So I don't know too much details other than, the things I do know, of course. But they worked for a year on this drone. And the aim was to film the F1 car for a full lap. Going 350 average, and that has never been done before. I know there's a few drones out there that go faster, but they're not made to film. So this is the fastest cinematic race drone, and they nailed it, man. They did a whole lap. We even had like a special drone to relay the video. So it's hard to get video across the whole track, and we have like an analog system with another drone in the air that relays the signal to the pilot. So in this way, you get complete coverage of the whole track. So that was like one of the special things we made. And of course, the drone, they prototyped a lot for it to go faster and faster and faster. And you had to get that rocket shape, because without that shape, it's hard to get to those speeds because you have so much resistance. Yeah, man. Super proud of the team, how they pulled this all off. And they actually, I think they only did 2 laps with Max Verstappen, because these things there's not a lot of time and everybody's busy, and Max doesn't have time to do 10 laps, So they did 2 laps and he nailed it on the first one, I think. And that was it, man. So, and the drone even has like a tiltable camera inside. So they made the camera movable. Okay. Yeah, because when he slows down in corners, you need to slow down the drone. The drone pitches up, so you need to tilt a bit down
to be able to see. Okay.
And he made like this foot switch that moves the camera. So pretty insane what they pulled off. And one of our, I think it's the biggest project we did. So very proud, and we got a lot of attention after that. So we can't complain.
That was that one. But going back, if we go back 2 years, there was the bike race that you all did, the downhill.
Yeah,
through the city.
Yeah, Cerro Abajo. That was in Chile. That was also Shaggy. And that was also because they nailed that so good. Red Bull was like, okay, if there's a company who can make this F1 work, it should be drone guys. So then they came back and we made sure we made it work again. But that was really a shoot that really impressed them, because at that shoot, it was the same. We didn't have video across the whole track. And they made the special relay drone. So there was a drone in the air relaying the video signal so Shaggy could fly the whole area. And that was also something that hasn't been done before. So, and it's also nice that it's being done with analog, in both scenarios. Shaggy flew analog FPV, which is back to the roots. So I think that's pretty cool.
Foundation FPV.
Yep. And Red Bull loves these crazy things, man. And I'm happy they asked us from the beginning, and every time they asked us, we showed them we could do it. And then we finally got to F1, and now, we're gonna do a lot more cool projects. I can't say a lot about it, of course, but a lot more things coming with this
drone. So
yeah, man.
How big is the team that you guys work with?
So me and Shaggy are the owners, and we've got 6 employees. We've got 2 tech guys who just build and design. We've got 2 extra pilots, so that means with us 2, it's 4 pilots, and we've got 2 guys, a girl and a guy, who do client contact, emailing, calling, making sure everything gets set up right. And they also do, like, one of them is a creative director, so goes with us on set and helps us out in that sense as well. Okay. So we're 8 in total.
Okay. And do you still build your own drones?
Yeah, from time to time. It's not like so necessary anymore, but sometimes we have so much projects going on that the tech team doesn't have time for everything. So then I try to build my own things when needed. And yeah, you know how it goes with FPV. Sometimes you're in the field and sometimes not working. So you do a quick solder here and there. But in general, no. But there's so much drone, so much things. So yeah, building never goes away, I guess. It's something that stays.
Now I want to hear about. So honestly, I've been a fan of yours for the last couple of years. I honestly did not even know your last name was Tonk until recently, because you were introduced to me as Vince Irie.
I am Vince Irie still. It's just, you know how Facebook with all these verification things, they want your real name. And then I'm like, I should use my real name. So my real name is Tonk. My artist name is Irie. And that's from music, man. I used to do music. I studied music. I have a reggae band. And with a reggae act, I used to be, my name's Vince Irie. Everybody knows me as Vince Irie. And then that just continued into the drone racing. But at the same time, for drone racing, I'm Jedeye, you know. So
Jedeye FPV.
It's confusing. But the real name is Tonk, yes. Vince Tonk.
So I have a question for you, right? Which was harder? Stepping on stage for the voice, Holland, or your first time doing a DCL race? Which was the most nerve-wracking?
The racing, man. The racing, like the music, because I knew what I was going to do, and I've been doing this for quite some time, and I was confident in what I could do. Like, I was nervous, but not crazy nervous. But with that drone racing, man, in the beginning, the first few, I was like shaking, man. Shaking, so nervous. Because, you know, you want to do good, no? So I think with drone racing got me more nervous. For sure.
Because I actually recently came across your voice audition, and it was cool when you did some of the Caribbean type songs and that kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Mash it up, you know? That's like, 11 years ago. Crazy.
You still perform?
Flies. Yeah, from time to time, but not really. Like, that's really gone. I'm way too busy with the drone stuff. But last year I had 1 show, I think, or 2.
Okay.
It's just more of a hobby, you know, and seeing the guys again from the band. It's a good vibe. And we do good, you know, it's just there's no time. So,
yeah. So you just have to pick one.
Pick. Yep. And I think, for now, what I'm doing now, I like it more, you know, than making music. I mean, I like making music as well, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's nice to do something futuristic, you know, with these drones and doing things that are super random, you know. Every time there's a different job, and I know now is the time to do it, because maybe in 5 years, who knows what's happening. So I try to get all the opportunities now and just focus on that, you know.
So I think the local FPV guys would be upset with me if I didn't ask you about, I melted my drone for the shot. So you're there, goggles, mask, full suit. What is this? Was that like the Iceland volcano?
Let me get some props. I got something here, because I saw them the other day laying around here while cleaning the props I used. This is the mask one. Let me get it done.
All right. So here we got the crazy mask. And this is because there's a lot of sulfur in the air.
Right.
Like it smells like fireworks, and they say if you breathe that for too long, it's not good. And we were up there, man, for like 12 hours or something. We were up there for a long time. So I was like, I'm gonna buy this before I go just to have it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that was that. And here are the props. So wanted to show you the melted props. It's like, see how they're like all stretched.
Yeah. And these are 5-inch?
Yeah, 5-inch. And normally, yeah, it's a bit more like that.
Yeah, they look like that. Yeah. And that one melted all the way at the end.
Yeah, man. They're all like tipped. Super like. But that's the only thing that melted. Like, of course, you have to make drama for the shot. And the shot was already dramatic with
Right.
the intro of me standing there. But yeah, I just thought, when I flew, I brought like 3 drones, and I was like, okay, if I lose one, it's not the end of the world. So every time I change a SD card when I go. So in theory, I was trying to burn my drone, but I didn't. So I was going super low in one shot, the one that went super viral. Like there's one that went super viral on my account where I like did a flip and shit. But I was low on these shots, just trying to push it, man. And when I came back, all I had was these stretched props. So I changed props and good to go again. And I think it's just the speed. I wasn't flying slow, so I was flying pretty fast, and nothing happened. No lava hit me. I was lucky, man. Didn't lose anything. And if you can see the shot, I'll give you some more insights. The shot I made, that the opening shot of that thing where I'm standing like all kitted out, you see the volcano behind me.
Yeah.
But obviously, if I fly the volcano, I would be standing the other way.
Next way.
Because my figure. So that shot is faked. I just like put it on, right, bro? Make the shot because the light is nice, you know? So, and that's how that shot came together. So we just made that shot, and then I kept flying around that time, and then we got some mad shots. But that, man, is my most insane FPV experience. Like flying a volcano is so, I would recommend it to everybody who has a chance. It's insane, man. It's like a video game. It's surreal. You can't believe it. It's like looking into fire. You want to constantly look at it, you know? It's wow. I want to go back again. I went another time to go and I didn't film it because it was gone. And now it's going again, the volcano, and I'm like, I want to go again, man. It's so enchanting. It's crazy.
Do you have a bucket list of shots that you would love to get?
Something that I still think I want to get good that I haven't is surfing. Like big waves with that break beautifully, you know, these Chopu, Fiji waves, you know, Hawaii pipeline. That's a dream, you know, to do that. Because I filmed so much things already. And if I really think what is the thing I really want to film is this surfing. And other than that, just cool events, maybe movies, or what we're doing already is already making me very happy. And nature, man, like flying these crazy waterfalls in Iceland and maybe Indonesia, you know, those amazing places to fly with the palm trees and the rice paddies. And there's so much cool places to explore with the race drone. So more of that, please. But the thing is, when I shoot for clients, it's work, obviously, and that's what we have to do. But just going out for like a month to Iceland to get content, I would love to do that. But because I'm so busy with work, I can't. But I see a lot of other influencer FPV pilots. They just go, you know, travel, make shots. Like, man, I want to do that too. I do the same, but I do it so much more work related. And I think they do it work related, but then more for brands on the go, or
so they get the time to do both.
And we just do like movies or how do you say, live things, or I just go where they send me, and I hope it's cool. And sometimes it's less cool.
And how often are you back and forth between Aruba and the Netherlands?
Once a year for sure, and sometimes twice a year. So I go for Aruba High Winds. I don't know, twice a year. I go for Aruba High Winds, where I was last month for the live stream. That was super fun. And then I go for vacation, like for a whole month, and that's usually in December, January, when the business slows down. when it's cold as well.
When it's cold.
And then I see the family. But I want to go more often, you know. It's just, yep, I'm busy here,
Time,
and then I can't. Yep, time. But I love the island, man. It's where it's where I'm the most happiest. Most happy, for sure.
Was the drone landscape in the Netherlands look like? Is it easy to fly? Are there lots of restrictions? Was that like?
The Netherlands is super boring, to be honest, to fly. It's it's very flat, so there's nothing here to fly, and there's a lot of restrictions everywhere. So no, man, the Netherlands is no good for flying. It's crazy we start with so much people fly here, but it's horrible for flying. It's good for racing because you have these grass fields, and you put your racing stuff, and you can race for days. But if you want to make anything cinematic with, you got some windmills, I guess, and you got some pretty sunsets here and there. You got the beach, but nothing really epic. It's all flat. So,
okay,
I think what you're at, you have so much more.
Yeah, you know, just but you get accustomed to it, and then you find out, hey, I wish I could go and fly here.
Of course.
Yeah.
Same for me in Aruba, man. Like Aruba's paradise. But to fly, I've flown there so much already, and I don't see. I have to revisit the beauty again, you know, because I've flown everywhere. Maybe try to do it with another approach, you know, find different spots. But the prettiest places to fly, man, you have like in Europe, you have the Dolomites in Italy. That's crazy landscapes, man, or like Switzerland or. All these places where you have mountains, wow, man! For FPV, that's really fun. Really fun.
Then you have all the different European restrictions that you have to deal with if you're flying commercially. And
if you're flying commercially, yes, but if you just fly for fun and you go make content and you go somewhere in the mountains, you know, nobody's gonna say nothing.
Okay.
But if you do like, you have a lot of these influencers who fly in cities, you know, fly over cities and. That's tricky to do. I don't like making that kind of content, like because of all the restrictions. You know, some people say it's allowed, then they say it's not allowed, and that's too much hassle for me. So I just rather film waterfalls, volcanoes, and all the stuff we're allowed to film, like the races, or you know. So I keep it legal like that. It's hard also when you got a big following to do things that are legal. So. We try to keep it fully legal, but that also makes it boring sometimes. So,
I understand.
Yeah, man, going into the mountains is the easiest here, I guess. Driving to France or driving to Swiss or Italy. Got a lot of nice spots there.
So, as one of the founders of DDG, you're a pilot, you're managing, you know, you have to organize all the business, all that. Was one of the biggest challenges you face operating our company?
I think it's hard to have employees, I guess. Just to you know, to manage with the employees and make sure they're happy, but also make sure that we get the things done as we want it to get done. And I mean, it's a fine line, and you want to stay friends with everybody and stay nice. So I think that's something that's maybe overlooked and hard. When you run a company, you got to be strict sometimes about things which you didn't anticipate that you would have to be. So that's hard. And I mean, also, once you get more and more work, you have to start splitting, right? And sometimes you want to do that job, but you can't because you're already doing this job, and vice versa. So it becomes less pick and choosing. Sometimes you can, sometimes you just have to do the job that, you're put on, even though something cooler comes up, you know? So that's also hard sometimes. And staying on top of the tech, because there's so much new things coming out, and new cameras and new frames and new this, new that. And you want to have the best of the best, but is it always necessary? Is it always the right choice to invest more? Like same as GoPros, you have GoPro 10, 11, 12, 13 is now going to come. And it's increments, you know, but when you go to a shoot, you want to tell them, I have the latest 12 naked, you know, not the 10 or the 11. But then you buy a bunch of 12s, and now the 13 comes out, and then so it's things like yeah, man, it's a lot of money that gets spent on gear, and sometimes things fail, right? I mean, sometimes you hit something and a drone breaks. That can also still happen. So yeah, I think it's just in general a big investment when you do it for yourself. It's like, okay, I have these 2 drones, I'm good, I know what I have, but now we're so many guys that we have so many drones at the office, and it gets a bit hectic sometimes. Okay, which drone is which? And now we have like a system to label them with a QR code that you scan it, and we're trying to make trying to make like a robust system, so it keeps getting better and better. But yeah, the bigger you get, just the more planning it takes, and it becomes like a company, man. Planning, having meetings, talking about gear for hours and hours and hours, and but so fun, man. Nonetheless, it's crazy that yeah, and it's fun. It's cool that we. Sometimes I try to tell myself, hey, man, like stand still, think about what we've accomplished and how crazy it has been, because now it's normal for me. But 4 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that I would be here. So you gotta appreciate, to be like, oh man, crazy. To think about all the things we did already and how it went and how lucky we were. Yeah, because it's part skill, obviously, and then we did the right thing. But man, we're also lucky that we started playing with these hobby drones, and then COVID came, and then these festivals came, and then we decided to work together, and all those chain of events happened. Yeah, crazy. So, yeah, very stoked and happy.
So you guys still use analog for a lot of your stuff, for like being able to relay data and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything, well, if you have anything new that you get to test, you could show the camera, it'll stay between me, you, and the audience. Is there anything that you want to see in the future?
FPV wise, you mean?
Yeah, FPV wise.
Yeah, the better video. So now we have the what they're called, the O3 units, right, from DJI. And they're all right for flying. I mean, they're good. They don't cut. The range is good. But when you use them for live streaming, the quality, it's not really 1080p. I don't know how to explain it. And there's so much events and things for us now that want a live stream feed from us. So I hope that technique gets better, because we've got solutions for it. It just gets big and bulky and huge. And we would love to have like the small drone we fly, the God mode, and to have that be able to stream very good quality would be nice. But yeah, without having to hook up anything extra to it. Yeah, that is just insane quality. And then, wow, that would be insane. And the batteries. So if the battery game would become better, because the battery game has been lacking for a long time. And
I think we just moved from 4S to 6S, and everything else has basically stayed the same since.
Yeah. So the way the lithium polymer battery works hasn't changed. So it's not like these batteries haven't gotten better, Yeah. And I don't know what's holding that back and how that works. Obviously, I'm not an engineer or chemist or anything, but I hope they figure something out, man. Because the way these electric cars work, they use 18650s, those cells. Okay. Yeah. And they just put shit loads of them in a car, and then you can put a lot of load on the batteries. But if we use those batteries, you can't draw too much amps because they sag. And you have to make them big, but then you make them too big and then it doesn't work. But for cars, it works. But for drones, it's the lipos, man, and they're still the same. And if that becomes like lighter and more power, and that would change so much, because that's what's restricting a lot as well. Imagine a battery maybe the size of this that could fly as a battery this big, Yeah. Imagine. That would be
that would change the whole game.
20 minutes with this or something.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
That would change the game.
Like the future. Yeah.
We have a lot of guys that ask locally, and people who get into FPV now because it's easier with things like the DJI Avatar. Have you ever flown one? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
On the Avata 2.
The first Avata, I bought it because I was very curious to see, okay, what is this? Because it's entering my market, and I'm like, oh, now everybody's gonna fly those. They don't need those anymore. I was kind of paranoid, like when that came out. But no, man, it's a good drone to start off with. And let's say you don't have any knowledge of FPV, it's very easy to get in. You get the remote, you get the goggle, you power it on, it works. You have all these safety features. So it's a good tool for if you don't know FPV. But for me, man, I can't even fly. It's so. I had a shoot for a hotel called Kalilo in Greece, and I had the Avata with me. And for the fun, I tried to do the same as I would do with my drone. And I don't want to bash the Avata too much because I've seen people make decent shots with them. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I couldn't make the turns. The wind was blowing me away, and it was super loud. And so after that, I never flew it again because I was like, this is no good. And then the 2 came out, and I was like, maybe it's better. And then on Aruba High Winds, I saw a guy who had one with him, and I flew it. But it was very windy, so I'm not sure if this is a fair chance, but I felt kind of the same. I'm like, I can't really do what I want with it. But I think for the beginner, man, if you don't have anything else, to send it. You can get decent shots with it because I've seen many people make decent shots with it. So it's surely something that can work. But if you go the real FPV route, when you get to that step of flying a similar type drone outside, you will have better control, basically. So let's say you first buy the remote, play a simulator, get good at the simulator, then buy a Foxy or Whoop thing and fly that. I think you'll have a better experience than with the Avata in the end,
Yeah.
But if you want a quick fix and you want it now and you just want to get into it, dive deep right away, Avata is a good choice, And maybe then because you're starting to learn with it, you'll learn that way of flying, So because it has restrictions that I can feel that I know are restrictions because I know how my drone flies.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any example of a drone and you just fly that drone, you'll make it work with what it is,
Yes.
So that's the thoughts on it. So if you're a beginner, you want to get into it, you have one available, send it. Go for it.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about fixing and programming beta flights and all the things that we had to do when we just got started.
Yeah. It's just a quicker approach, plug and play. And especially with that remote that you fly like a joystick.
I hate that thing.
Yeah, but I think it's for the person who just wants to immediately fly. It works, you give throttle, you move it left, right, it goes. I flew with it once and it was pretty intuitive for if you don't know anything, you just want to have fun. Because there's a lot of people out there, right, who just have the money, they want to have fun, they want to buy something, they want to be part of this FPV community, they want to get into it right away, they can't wait.
Yeah.
They've seen too much videos online. I understand. They got the FPV bug, they're like, no, I'm buying it now.
Yeah, so, but then you have the problem of you crash it and then you can't fix it, and then what?
Yeah, the thing is, it has so much built-in safety. I mean, you can still crash it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think if you follow along smart, you go to an open field, look some videos, I think you can get away with not crashing if you're doing it right. Not fly acro right away, leave it in angle mode for a little bit and work your way up, play the simulator. If you do it smart and not take too much risks, you should be good. But sooner or later, you're gonna crash.
You're gonna crash. Do you was your biggest crash owning as you want a DDG?
Crashes. Yeah, crashes randomly happen. I mean, you could be flying in a warehouse where it's dark and you take a corner up to make like a wide shot and you could hit like a little thing and crash like that. I've crashed into water many times just filming like surfers or windsurfers, and that the spray hits the drone too big and then it just goes down. And that's
Carrying
kind
anything
of
bigger
it.
than a GoPro?
All of that I've crashed, yeah, man. I've lost the black magic in the ocean like this with the spray.
Okay.
So I was filming this windsurfer and he put his hand in the water to make like the spray effect. And that's nice always, but I was too much in that line of the spray and the video dropped, and that's like, that drone was at least 5K or more. That hurts.
I can imagine.
So yeah, that happens from time to time, but not a lot. I'm glad, not a lot.
Yeah.
And when the small ones crash, it's not so much, and they can handle some hits here and there. The biggest losses are when you can't find them anymore, you know? So I'd had long range missions where the video just cuts, long range, it's gone, or in the water, in the ocean. That's happened many times. In these 10, 11 years that I've flown, I ain't gonna lie, I've broken at least 100 drones, if not more. Also, counting drone racing, it must be more even, to be honest. Yeah. And just losing drones. I can't even count how much I lost in the ocean, to be honest, in all these years. And I'm somebody who just takes a lot of risk. Just, if I lose it, I'll find another way to get one. I'll beg a sponsor or beg someone to get me a new frame. Back in the day, that's how I used to do. And that's when people cry to me about losing a drone. I'm like, bro, it's part of the game. It's part of it. You're gonna lose a lot of drones. And if you don't lose them or you don't crash them, then you're not taking risks to get those shots, which is fine. Yeah. You don't have to, but if you're taking risks, you're gonna crash. So, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all crash. It happens. It's taking risks, man.
Yeah, it's part of FPV. It's not a matter of
man.
If you crash, it's when you crash.
It's when you crash, man. It's that's how it goes. Yeah, man. You just hope it's not too bad, and you hope you find it back. Like in the ocean, that's the worst because I don't even go. Like when it crashes in the ocean, I'm like, okay, wait.
So you don't put the people attach the plastic bottles to the bottle? No. Okay.
It flies worse. And even like that, like let's say on Aruba high winds, like the ocean, it's pretty big, no? So if I crash somewhere, I mean, you could potentially find it, but then I'm doing a live stream, right? So I rather the signal just die and the drone die and I get a new one and I just continue my job instead of like, oh, but where's the drone? And everybody's going to have to look for it and I can't do my job. So, I mean, I've had in the past that I've crashed next to a buoy, knowing that which buoy it is, going out with the boat and finding it. It's happened before. Yeah. But the only thing that will save is the shots because the whole drone will be broken, everything will be done fried. So then I think it's not worth it, Even the Black Magic one, I didn't know exactly where it dropped. Like it was somewhere out there. So I'm like, no, and it was sunset. And then you're like, am I gonna find this? Yeah. So just have peace with it. I mean, there's this little thing called getter back. It's like a little buoy. It's yellow. It's very small. And you put it, and when it hits the water, it shoots up a little buoy with a string. Okay. And the little buoy floats up top, and then you could potentially find it. I've had that on my drones multiple times, but every time I have that on my drone, I don't crash in the water. So, and when I don't have it on, that's when it goes bad.
That's when you crash.
The last high winds on Aruba, I lost one drone as well. Just the video just stopped, and I think it got too much spray. Same thing as always, and man, so many people ask me, "Hey, bro, you know where it is? I'll go find it for you." I'm like, yeah, but I don't really know where it is. I kind of, but the ocean's so big, and deep, it's hard to find unless you really know. That time I crashed by the buoy, I knew, okay, it's next to the buoy, so it was easier that's findable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the hard thing. But let's say you do a shoot in a swimming pool or something where, the water's not so big, then obviously you can go get it.
Yeah.
But in the ocean, I always think like, or you have
Just
these lakes here in the Netherlands where I've lost one as well, filming kiters. And it's all brown water and super deep. So it's also like, you're never going to find it. So
yeah.
next. Yeah.
So
yeah, man.
What's next in the cards for DDG?
Yeah, as I said, a lot of big projects coming up. I can't mention too much things, but a lot of racing. Like we did MotoGP, that's with the motorcycles. We did that a few weeks back, so we're going to be doing more of that. Potentially some other racing leagues. I can't say much about it. So that's all the F1 drone, the Red Bull drone. So look out for racing stuff. And other than that, we're doing some movies, but obviously I can't say anything about that either. Which is cool. We're doing one of the biggest sporting events, which is cool.
Olympics.
Yeah, I can't say that, but we're doing something cool.
I'll say it.
What else? We're doing some cruise ships again, which is always a blast. We're doing the nines. So I did the nines with the snowboarders. And the nines is like this prestigious event. It used to be called Audi Nines. Now it's called the Swatch Nines. And I think they started this like 10, 12 years ago. And the idea behind that is to bring all the best snowboarders or skiers or whatever together and do the biggest jumps. But they also do that with mountain biking. And this summer you have the mountain biking version, I think, in Austria. And then they get the best mountain bikers together and they do all these big jumps. And I think Shaggy's going to go film that. So that's a super cool event. We're doing also the surf variation of that. Most probably not sure if we're going to do it, but hoping because I want to do anything surf. But that's also for the nines. That's this year. And some hotels we're going to be filming.
So you guys are extremely busy.
Yeah, man. Some festivals, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be. It is already a fun year. And what I said in the beginning, what's the hardest is that you want to do a bit of everything, but you can't. So you do what we can, and we spread the teams out. Yeah, man. But looking good. It's looking good for the DG this year, and let's see how it goes.
So I know it's late. Well, it doesn't look late through your window, but I know it's late where you are. So just a couple of things before you go. You started early in the days of FPV, but is there anybody that you looked up to or got inspiration from? And do you still have somebody that you get inspiration from today?
Less in the same vibe I used to, because back in the day it felt super special what we did. So like you have Mr. Steele, obviously, which I looked up to a bit, and you have Tommy. Oh my God, you know Tommy. Oh my God,
yeah.
Well, he was the first. Like his videos were some of the first ones I watched, and like when I met him, I was like fanboying. Like, oh my God, Tommy! I met him at DCL Paris for the first time. Super nice guy, by the way. But I was a big fan of his, and Rotor Riot, obviously. You had Chad Novak, which was a cool guy back in the day. Trappy of Black Sheep. Like, you have this whole clique of people. But the biggest one for me, we're Tommy, man. I really liked what he did, with his drones and Rotor Riots. You also had Flight Test, which is not really FPV, but still like flight related with the RC planes, which also was a big inspiration for me. And I was really looking up to racers, like Johnny FPV, Luke Bannister, Min-Chen Kim, all these fast guys. And nowadays, you look up to the other filming companies, like Beverly Hills Aerials. They do a lot of cool things. You got Lightcraft, which do a lot of cool things. Johnny FPV, same name. So he's like a leader in this filming industry. You got Benoit Fenke of House of FPV, which is they're doing a lot of cool high-end filming as well. And Tommy, oh my God, he's also doing a lot of things in the US filming wise. And yeah, these influencers like Fabrizi, obviously you must know. I think he does a lot of cool things. Sebastian Schira, I don't know if you know him. He's got a huge account on Instagram. I met him for a GoPro trip. I look up to him. He does a lot of just cool content, volcanoes, lava, all that great stuff. Let me see who else. You have Rami on Instagram as well. Man, there's list goes on, right? There's so much cool pilots online that do cool stuff. Like back in the day, it was like a little group, and now you see like so much talent, so much people just going all into FPV, doing traveling, making the sickest shots. And I'm really happy and lucky I got in before the masses got in. So, I mean, it's hard to get a following now, I guess, with FPV. Like when I did it, it was still like early, so there wasn't a lot of these shots online. So it was a bit easier to get people to follow you, I guess. And now there's so much that it's hard to get like a following. But there's a lot of good people online. Like if you just go #FPV, the Ken FPV, it's Ken FPV, the one who does through gaps through the bandos and stuff.
Yeah, he's crazy. Have you ever raced against Minchan or
many times. Yeah.
Is he as sick as his videos?
Yeah. Minchan is a monster, bro. I remember being with him on the bus, and we all fly mode 2, so the normal way of flying, right? And we were playing the simulator, and he flies mode 3 or some weird mode. And he was like, let me have a go. And I was like, yeah, but it's only mode 2. It's like, doesn't matter. And he beat all our times with the other, flying away. And then he flies line of sight acro and does all these weird flips in front of you and just keeps twirling the drone like, it's crazy. You're like, okay, I should stop flying drones or at least stop racing, because the way he races is on another level. And that's also what happened with the racing. Is just you start to realize that these kids are crazy. You will never be able to keep up with them. So I had my glory days. I won some races, and now I'm filming
and let them have it.
Yeah, man. And they don't do the races anymore live as well. Like DCL does a lot on the computer, no? A lot of gaming.
Sim races,
Which I'm like, it was so cool, the real races. Like I would even watch if I knew there's a DCL race this weekend. I would actually watch if it's a real race because I would be interested. But with these eSIM races, no, man. I don't like it. I can't watch
it's
it.
Not the same.
Not the same at all.
So we have a lot of new new pilots or newer pilots into the world of filmmaking, since FPV has gotten easier to get into. You have any words of advice for any of the guys coming up or anybody with a company that's trying to take it to the level similar to what you guys have done?
Yeah, man. Just make sure you're professional. Like if you want to make it into a business, make sure you're good at what you do. So make sure, you make good shots and make sure you're professional with the client, be on time, make sure they understand what FPV is, try to do it legal, and grow your name. And don't be afraid to do some things for a bit less in the beginning or things for friends or family just to start to get it going, to shut your portfolio. But I think it's important to have a good social media. So make a social media account for the company, make a website for the company, start to get something you can put on the social media and the website that shows what you can do with the drones. And then just try to get clients by mailing, calling, going by the places, showing them videos that you could potentially make for them. Give them a good bargain, make a cool shot, put that online, and hopefully that shot gets viewed by the next client, and then and yeah, I think because it's so dynamic, the way you can film with these drones, man, there's so much work. Even in the Netherlands, like there's multiple companies who do what we do, and it seems like everybody can still get along, and there's enough for everybody. So I would think on the islands it's also doable. I just think obviously there's maybe not always the same amount of clients that need this type of shots, but I think surely it's doable. And play a lot of the simulator. I know in the simulator nowadays you can even fly indoors, and there's a lot of things you can practice. And getting the job, I think, is part of the work, but obviously you need to fly it. But when you fly it and you don't deliver, that's also not good. So try to nail it. When you get that opportunity, you nail it. So the client you're working for is super happy. He starts to tell other people, "Oh, bro, I'm working with this guy. He makes amazing shots." And then you can put it online, and it keeps flowing and keeps going. And I wish anybody who wants to start this journey success. And I think it's something that's good to pursue. It's technological. It's a new way of filming, and I think it's still very hype, let's say, nowadays to film like this. And you can always expand it. No, let's say you also start making pictures, or you film with your video camera, and you can give them FPV. Like the times that there's not work for FPV, you can also still film and make pictures, and all the clients you get, you can always offer the FPV. And I think if you mix it like that, you'll also have a stronger foundation, especially on the islands. I know on Aruba from friends of mine who do that a little bit there, they do a lot of weddings, so filming a lot of weddings, and then they do FPV every now and then. And that's what they do the most.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that, man. So, of course, before I let you go, one last thing.
Tell me.
Video of the week segment. What is your submissions for this week? Video of the week.
Ooh, then I need to search the internet for all the videos, or you have some options for me?
No, I want you to give me your favorite.
Well, let me have a quick look then somewhere, so I can see, because I don't know anything from the top of my head that I see.
It can be one of your videos. That's fine.
Yeah. And then I feel like I need to give someone else a chance, though.
No, give us one of your videos. We could do both. We could do one of your videos, and then we could do somebody else's.
All right. Okay, the video I like to show then is the one on Aruba. It's on my Instagram. I'll show you here. Maybe you can show it on the screen in a bit.
Yeah.
Is the one where I fly through the kite.
This is a recent one.
I can tell a little story about that, just because it's recent. And so this was with Tom. He's a kite surfer that I got onto Aruba high winds. I met him at GoPro, and we were thinking of making a shot the whole day already. And then I'm like, bro, I'm gonna fly through your kite, and then while I'm going down, I'll see you go over the shipwreck. And he's like, man, but you think how we're going to communicate and how we're going to make this happen? And how we're going to be all the way out there. And I'm like, man, don't worry. Just go. Stay there. I'll come with the drone. When you see me, just start sending it towards it, and I'll make sure I get you. And it was the first try, man. I got there. He saw me. He started going. I'm like, I sent it. We made the shot. We came back, and that was that, man. That was a crazy one. So I really wanted to share that because it was very hard to make. So it's scary, going through the kite with all the lines and coming out, having him perfectly going over the shipwreck. Was really proud of getting that one so fast, So that was nice. And let's see someone else's shot that has blown my mind recently.
Tell me.
Oh, I see a lot of cool things. I'll show you a shot that I saw a few weeks ago, because or else I don't know what to choose. Oh man, Andy. Andy Troy photo. I don't know if you're following this guy, but I was. This
No,
is
I
him,
don't think
Andy
so.
Troy. But he's from the Netherlands as well, and I met him at this kite event we were doing here. This Red Bull. I don't remember the name, but I started following him, and he does some very cool stuff, man. Like filming a lot of kiters and stuff. That's his thing, like filming kite surfers.
Okay.
And he has this one video,
Yeah.
where
Okay,
it starts in his hand, and he drops it, and this guy is doing some wicked tricks, man. Like super
that real one.
snappy. Oh, so fast as well. Like, and he's filming it good, nicely in frame, not too close, not too far. Boom.
Yeah, that real sick.
Very, very sick. And then he lands it in his hand again at the end, or not? Yeah. So it starts in the hand and it ends in the hand. So I think that's a very cool one. When I saw this one a few weeks ago, I was like, what? This guy is sending it. So that's pretty cool, man. So I'm also someone who likes to, I like to see others do good, do crazy stuff. So it hypes me as well when I see a shot that I'm like, what? I need to also make a crazy one, So it's good. The FPV community is good, man. There's so much out there that it just keeps everybody hyped, all these shots. So
cool. Vibes. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna let you get out of here. For the persons that aren't familiar with you, why don't you drop your socials so they know where they could find you and check out some of your work?
So most of my work is on my Instagram, and that's Jedeye _FPV, and it's Jed I as I. So JEDEYE _FPV. So when I thought of the name, I thought like Star Wars Jedi, but instead of the eye, I thought of the eye with seeing, with the goggles. So a lot of people don't get this one, but that's the origin story of the name.
I get it.
But that's where you can see most of my stuff, and that's my handle everywhere. So it's on YouTube as well, and it's on TikTok as well. So,
all right, cool. Thank you very much for coming on to this week's episode. I appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me so much. As I said to you privately, I don't do a lot of podcasts, but since you're from the islands, I really like doing things with like-minded people, and from the island and from Aruba as well. So it's nice just to hang out and to talk. I really enjoyed this podcast. So maybe in the future we can do another one. So let me know anytime.
No problem. Thanks very much, man.
Cool, man.
Take care.
Bless up.